Welcome, everyone. So we've got some things to talk about. Let's see here. Let's get some of these comments up. Start at the beginning. People, of course, between lack of meaningful updates, lack of features, why you ever do features, anyone starting out, we're stupid to give Apple money, except, thanks everybody for the thumbs up. It's appreciated, except if you want to spend $4.99 for the iPad version. That's the reason that they have the iPad version. That's exactly the reason for people that are just beginning. Got a lot of watchers again today. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. Fantastic. So I'm going to talk specifically about why I said that it's coming out tomorrow. Obviously, people will know after the fact, but I have specific reasons. So Apple isn't technically a liar. Apple needs to pick up his game or there'll be a ton more defections. Bad enough they are wasting resources on an iPad app that sucks. I don't think it sucks. Ismail, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Yes, you told me yesterday update releases happen at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They don't all happen at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They happen at different times during the day. Maybe a lot of them do, but not every single one. And you said something about being the same day as they don't drop the same day as betas. You'll have to show me that. Do a spreadsheet and show me that, because I don't believe it just because you say it. I don't think that the betas have anything to do with Final Cut Pro. Prove me wrong. I could be wrong. Prove it. That's it. I'm editing in After Effects from now on. Boy, I tell you, After Effects is a tough way to go for an NLE, isn't it? For beginners, they should look elsewhere. 300 for sporadic updates is crap. For newcomers, 300 made sense for us who bought it back in the day. It's made a lot of sense. Here's a good... Because they want to give Steve and Mark from Ripple Training time to get their videos out. They've probably had the videos already ready. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. So we're not getting Final Cut Pro today, and I'll show you why in a few minutes why that's very unlikely to happen. It'll be out tomorrow. This update isn't really worth a dot release anyway. Should have been 10.6.11. I don't disagree. 12 years to get the scrolling timeline. The scrolling timeline is huge. If you don't appreciate it, that's fine, but a lot of us do, and that's a gigantic thing that they've done. What's another day? We've waited this long. I guess I'll dust my desk and organize media. There you go. That's the attitude to have. I'm not dismissing the pace of updates that the Final Cut Pro team has given us. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. It's appreciated. I'm not dismissing people who are dissatisfied. Am I satisfied with the pace of updates? No. No, I'm not satisfied. Am I going to keep editing with Final Cut Pro? Yes. Yes, I am, especially since we got the scrolling timeline. Final Cut Pro is still the fastest in and out NLE for a crew of one. For a crew of one. Agree, exchange. Agree, waiting patiently, greeting from Finland. We have listeners from all around the globe. As I always say, thank you very much for the thumbs up. It's fantastic. So we're doing a record. We're doing 3 days in a row. Tuesday, today's Wednesday, and Thursday. We'll do tomorrow, Thursday at 2 o'clock, the same time. Now, I really expect tomorrow when we come on at 2 o'clock that Final Cut will have been released already. I don't know how long. It could be, like Patrick says, 1 o'clock Eastern, which would be an hour before we go live. It doesn't, at this point, it doesn't make any difference. We have one more day. Apple said it'll be released at the end, later this month. Today's later this month and tomorrow's later this month. I'm going to keep on checking just to make sure they don't sneak it out on us. I don't see it. Nope. So tomorrow, Thursday is the day. There's a nice attitude. Limelight says, good morning, everyone, and good afternoon. There you go. Good attitude. That's what we like. But there's many more useful to do before the scrolling timeline. Even it's a good thing. Yes, but we waited for 12 years for the scrolling timeline. We got it. We waited for, 12 years. We waited for 11 or 12 years for dupe detection. We got it. Dupe detection was also improved in 10.7. They've done another job. They've improved it already, so it's already improved in 10.7. We saw it live. We saw it on the screen. So, of course, we need other things. But I'm just saying the scrolling timeline was a big challenge for them, and they accomplished it. It was one of the top requests. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. It was one of the top requests, and they got to it. Didn't Patrick wish us well and was off to Resolve yesterday? I think he was. We don't listen. We don't want to downplay people's concerns about the progress of updates for Final Cut Pro. I'm not going to do that, but I'm much more satisfied with Final Cut Pro since the Creative Summit, and we once again talked to the team. They were very open about a lot of things, and we were able to talk about them in public, which was fantastic. So that's good. What's the worst headline? FCP update delayed or Final Cut Pro melted my MacBook. Let them squash bugs if needed. I don't think they're squashing bugs. I would think maybe they're adding a new feature or something. Maybe I'm going to tell you what I think. The reason I changed from this being a Wednesday update to Final Cut to I said, we'll see it in 24 hours. Bruce Babcock Jr., I still have projects and clients that I have to use Final Cut Pro for. Going forward, new projects will have to be in Resolve for me. Patrick, I think you'll probably keep, like I said, you've already paid for Final Cut. I use Resolve, I use LumaFusion, and I use Final Cut. But the first thing I grab, especially now that it's got a scrolling timeline, is Final Cut. There's something about it that draws me to it. Yes, I've been using it since it came out. Absolutely. Michael says, I think Final Cut Pro is lost. Okay. That is making comments criticizing Final Cut is okay. Just do it in a professional way. I've been critical of Final Cut in the past. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. We got 15 thumbs up already. Thank you very much. When is the update? Within 24 hours, we should see the update. Unless there's a problem. If there's a problem, I don't anticipate a problem. If there is a problem, they should let us know officially. They haven't done that, and I don't expect that to happen. Good afternoon from Michigan, from Sean Beckner. We will never see a true audio mixer. I have inside information that there is an audio mixer in Final Cut Pro 10. But it's like the scrolling timeline. The scrolling timeline's been there since the beginning, but they just took them 12 years to get optimized. I mean, they don't just work on one feature at a time. They work on multiple features. I've heard about the scrolling timeline. They said that there's a scrolling timeline. People have told me from the very beginning. I've heard the same thing about an audio mixer. So we'll see it. How can it be a challenge when every NLE except Final Cut Pro could do it? Because Final Cut Pro has the live waveform redrawing with at the same time the scrolling timeline. I'm not making excuses why it took 12 years, because I think it should have been there from the beginning. They should have worked on it. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. 18 thumbs up. It's fantastic. But I'm just saying, look, I'm not downplaying Patrick Masters Productions. I'm not downplaying your concerns. I'm agreeing. I'd like to see a faster pace of update. I'm agreeing with that. But I'm saying the Final Cut Pro team is really a splendid group of people. They are trying their hardest. They're not holding back features on purpose. That's not what they're doing. They're trying to give us everything that we possibly could want. Backyard. I don't know if you can see that, but there's more leaves now than there were yesterday. We got leaves slat down since last night. I will have to go out there and do more leaves, but not today. So, we're not disagreeing with you. We want you to stick around. Keep an open mind. I understand the frustration. I've been frustrated too. Plenty of times. I still prefer to fiddle around with nodes. Plugins still feel more natural than on DVR. No NLE is perfect. Still the best, fastest NLE on Mac OS X. Yes, I agree. I always found myself going back to Final Cut Pro first, even though I use Resolve and even though I use LumaFusion. LumaFusion mostly for mobile. This is an interesting comparison. Waiting for a Final Cut Pro update is like waiting for a new revelation on JFK. It takes forever, but worth the wait. When I worked at the National Archives, I never thought this would happen in a million years. I got to see Oswald's rifle. I got to film Oswald's rifle, his .38 caliber pistol, his sweater that he was shot in, his wallet. I've seen the Zapruder film. I've seen all of the JFK assassination memorabilia. I had to film it when I was the post supervisor down there. It was an amazing, amazing day when that happened. To be in the same room as the rifle that killed JFK, it's amazing. But anyway, that's a little side thing. But I did see that in person. External SSD support for Final Cut Pro for iPad would be a nice surprise addition. Now, here's the thing about that. The new iPhones have a USB controller, USB 3 controller, that makes it possible on the iPhones. I don't know if the iPads have that same controller that made it possible on the iPhones or not. I don't know what kind of controller it has. I know it has USB-C, but I don't know what it has. I think Jonathan says, I think Apple hates me. It's become abundantly clear. If it comes out tomorrow, do you think they hate you? If 10.7 comes out tomorrow, which is what I expect, do you think they hate you? I don't think so. They don't hate you. I know they don't. Being user that occasionally makes a video, I hope they make a little more intuitive. Every time I open Final Cut Pro, it takes me time to relearn and add in a new feature. It takes forever to make a video. Well, you have to invest some time and to learn it. I mean, there's plenty of YouTube videos. If you're going to buy tutorials, I recommend Ripple Trading. They have great series. I just wish Apple would be as open as they said they would be after that big letter. Ever since then, it has been a disappointment. It was disappointing to me prior to that. In 2019, we went to the Creative Summit. We got nothing. We went to the Creative Summit. We saw a presentation from the team. They didn't show us anything that wasn't on YouTube for 2 weeks prior. There was nothing new. I don't know what the heck happened in 2019. That was very disappointing to me. I hung in there. I mean, I never thought, thank you very much for the thumbs up, I never thought in a million years that we were going to get a scrolling timeline in 10.7. I just didn't think that. I thought we were going to get text-based editing or something, but we got the scrolling timeline. I am not complaining about it. I love the scrolling timeline. Haven't even used it yet. I can't wait for it to get out for tomorrow. 24 hours, we should have it, a little less than 24 hours. I have a side question. I have the SanDisk Extreme SSD and formatted it as a working drive for Final Cut Pro Cache. Is it USB 3? I think that's what it is, right? USB 3? The SanDisk Extreme. I have a, this is a Thunderbolt, true Thunderbolt SSD, NVMe SSD, and is really, really fast. I initially installed, what is the new OS? What is it called? Well, anyway, it's 14. I installed it on here and booted from this, had a dual boot system, and I found out that my audio interface, the Apollo U Audio Apollo Twin X, the drivers have to be installed on the SSD in the MacBook Pro. It can't be installed on an external drive, so I made a separate volume on my internal SSD and installed, I have a dual boot SSD right now. Ventura Sonoma, that's what it's called. No matter when this drops, I think we're going to be really happy with our new environment for editing. Good point. Final Cut Pro is great software, still missing very useful as audio roll, mixer, transcribe, etc. So yes, it is. Let me just go over here real quick. So one of the things that I was pleasantly surprised, because I've been watching this in the App Store, is, let me go over to the graphics section here a second. The ratings for Final Cut Pro have really, really come up. So 12,000 ratings, and it's got a 4.7 rating in the App Store. It was at one point down to 4.2. Lower fours. Now it's up to 4.7, so people are getting the hang of it. They're really, really liking Final Cut Pro. I've hung in there all these years, even with everything that I've said about it, and I've been, very aggravated about the scrolling timeline and some other missing features for years. I too was on you're not updating Final Cut Pro fast enough. And I'm not going to change my mind about that. I wish they would do a faster pace and get us more features of updating Final Cut Pro. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But at the same time, I appreciate what the Final Cut Pro team is doing. There's a lot of hardworking people on that team that are very passionate about Final Cut Pro. So, yes, we can keep the pressure on. Absolutely keep the pressure on for more features to get us the features we want and faster pace. Absolutely. Absolutely, I agree with that. I think everyone could use a good reminder that the Final Cut Pro team strongly encourages us to all use the feedback form and will be detailed about why and what we want to use the requested functionality. Now, let's go here. We brought this up yesterday. This is on the feedback form already. They already have 10.7 when you go to do the feedback. They already have select the version of Final Cut Pro. This has been on for a couple of weeks. So I within 24 hours, we'll be back here tomorrow to have the real discussion about Final Cut Pro. This is already in the feedback form. By the way, I'm going to thank Bruce Babcock Jr., who was very kind and bought me some coffees when I went to the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. I got to meet Bruce. I talked with him several times there. It was great meeting new people. And he bought me some coffees over there at buymeacoffee.com. That's how you can support me. I think the update is delayed as the team wraps up sneaking Bruce the Wonder Yak back in. Yes, that was a very cool Easter egg they used to have in Final Cut Pro Classic. DaVinci is frustratingly fantastic. It's a technical editing tool. Final Cut Pro is fantastically fast. It's a creative editing tool. I agree with that. DaVinci Resolve is very complex, but I like complex. Personally, I like complex. I like the ability of putting some time in and learning how to do things, even though it's complex. I wish Final Cut Pro had more. We could dig into more of the nuts and bolts kind of things. I mean, for example, every time I do a timeline, I have to reset my preferences for the height of the timeline and the ratio of the video to the audio. Every time I have to go over there and set that up. I'd like there to be a checkbox that says use this as default, and it does it every time. I don't have to do it every time. It automatically remembers. So I like to get in nuts and bolts. The speeds were 1600 megabits a second exFAT, 921 MB for APFS, and 871 for Mac OS X. What do you prefer? I noticed that as well. I wasn't testing for the Mac, but I was testing for the iPhone 15 speeds. And I noticed that one of them, it was the same thing. exFAT was faster than the native Mac OS when you formatted the drive. I don't know why, but since I want to use it with the Mac as well, exFAT, that's Microsoft, but even though it's better than what the older ones used to be, it's still, I just went back and updated it for Mac OS. And collaborative workflow without third-party app, yes, I agree with that. Will this update be optimized for the new M3 chips? Ismail, I bet you that there's some features that maybe the M3 does that you won't get without the M3, or certainly the speed of the M3 that's going to be optimized for that. Yes, I think it will be. I just came across the following headline on Reddit. Oscar-winning Parasite was edited with 10-year-old copy of Final Cut Pro. That's correct. That's correct. It was. But, you use Final Cut Pro 7. You use Final Cut Pro 7. Final Cut Pro 7 was a fantastic NLE for its time. It really was. I think the optimization for silicon will really make a huge difference for its quickness scrubbing the time, and I agree with that. I got the M1 Max, but I have 64 gigabytes of RAM, top CPU, top GPU, whatever that was at the time. I would hope that Apple are going to bring the Final Cut Pro XML and Logic XML in par so that people who know how to use Logic could work with Final Cut Pro Project Logic, miss Soundtrack Pro. So Apple and the Logic team considers Logic a music creation app. They don't really consider it a film scoring app. So the urgency to have it go flawlessly from Final Cut and Logic back and forth is probably not a top priority. It's mostly a scoring app. Now you can use, there's a ADD, Audio Design Desk, has a bridge between Final Cut and Logic, which is really, really cool. So I recommend taking a look at that, downloading a trial and see what it's like. Any idea if Apple is open to going to a subscription model in Final Cut Pro and subsequently adding more features faster? I don't think so. I don't think that's the issue why they're adding their pace that they've developed for adding features. I think you'd be frustrated if they did go to a subscription model and kept the same pace. Now, that was brought up. The subscription was brought up when we had a Q&A. Of course, they're not talking about future roadmaps, but they say, Final Cut Pro 10.7 is not subscription. This is the new era of Final Cut Pro. Right now. It starts tomorrow. 10.7, Final Cut Pro 10.7 is the new era of Final Cut Pro. It starts now. 10.7 and the future. So some things will happen. We'll be getting more features. Don't worry about that. I do 89% of the work in Final Cut Pro, then bounce to DaVinci Resolve if a client will need to collect the project to finish and deliver, or PR, depending on client. That sounds like a good workflow. I formatted a SSD Extreme and got speeds with Blackmagic Speed Test 1600 on exFAT 921. I thought APF is supposed to be faster. How do you format your? Well, I have my SSDs. I have a couple that are just for the MacBook Pro. So of course, I don't use exFAT. It's just too many. There can be too many problems. And even though I saw one of the SSDs that I had was faster in exFAT, right now I'm buying SSDs that work with the iPhone 15 Pro Max. They got to work with the iPhone 15 Pro Max. For example, the Samsung T9 works fine with the MacBook Pro, but it's only half the speed for whatever reason on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I have no idea why. But I speed tested it, and I did it over and over and over again. And the speed with the iPhone 15 Pro Max was half the speed as the Mac. And it was also slower than the T7 and the T7 Shield, which I also have. So I sent that back. I said I didn't want that. If LumaFusion can get external editing to work on iPad, Final Cut Pro should too. I agree, but LumaFusion's been out for 3 years, 4 years. They're much more advanced than Final Cut Pro with the development of a touch interface. Way more advanced. They also are the only NLE on the iPhone. Well, first off, Final Cut Pro is not on the iPhone, but they're the only NLE that can edit off an external drive on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. They're the only one. It's for Final Cut Pro Cache. Good point. I have a few from Ripple. They're good. Yes, USB 3. Patrick Masters says Sonoma. Thank you. Thank you very much. It is the model of their drive. So this is the biggest thing that I've seen. Biggest feature wish list, text and transcriptions, absolutely. Role-based audio effects, absolutely. Absolutely. Those are two of the biggest. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. We're up to 24 thumbs up. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Those are the two biggest requests that I have seen. Text-based, well, there's three. Text-based editing, some kind of an audio mixer for the roles, and collaboration. Those are the big three right now. I think text-based editing, we'll be seeing that with 10.7. And the other ones, I don't know when they're going to get there. Random question, but when Final Cut Pro moves to version 11, will there be a price to upgrade? My opinion is yes, and I won't mind paying that. Now, it has to be a brand new app built from the ground up, et cetera, et cetera. We want the Final Cut Pro team to have the funds that they need. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. We're up to 28. We want the Final Cut Pro team to have the funds to be able to develop, to be able to employ smart people. So when it goes to 11, as a matter of fact, after 12 years, I wouldn't mind paying again for a major update. I'm not saying they are, but if they go subscription, make it as an option. Do not cram a subscription down our throat. I think the subscription for the iPad was just to give an entry-level version of Final Cut for people that can't afford the $299 as a one-time payment. Do you think that the Apple Final Cut Pro person whose job it is to push that button to release it had a stroke mid-button push, though? And if so, should we call someone? Jonathan, I think we'll we'll have that update within 24 hours, and we'll be happy. I'm going to say it's coming out tomorrow morning, Pacific time, PST, West Coast time. If that's 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, that'll be 12 Eastern or 1 Eastern. We'll be back here. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. We'll be back here at 2 o'clock tomorrow, and maybe we'll have an hour or two to play with it before we come back on and talk about it once it's actually out. I mean, it could come out today, but it just, at this point, no, I said tomorrow. So I have an update for tomorrow. It's already available. Final Cut Pro is a subscription you renew with every computer you purchase. Apple is a hardware company first. They used to be hardware first, but now they're all their hardware depends on software. It depends on the OS and it depends on the Pro apps. I understand what you're saying. That's not really a subscription, because you can buy a Mac and use it for 10 years. You don't have to pay a reoccurring subscription price, but I understand the sentiment. Is your drive format is APFS? Yes. All my drives are APFS. All my SSD drives. I have backup drives, just regular spinning drives, and they are not APFS. They are extended. So the backup spinning drives are extended. All my SSD drives are APFS. Our friend Yari Inanen, good evening, Richard. Hope to make NAB this year and see you there. That'd be fantastic, Yari. I think I saw you at 2018 or 2019 at NAB. We met then, so that would be fantastic to see you again. To be Final Cut Pro editor is difficult because every time you have to think about switching. I'm not sure you mean switching to another NLE. I don't think about it. I just use whatever NLE is appropriate for the job. Anytime there's captions involved, I'm using Resolve, because they have built-in captions, built-in transcriptions. Doesn't cost anything. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. 31 thumbs up. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate it. We will be back here tomorrow at 2 o'clock, and we should have 10.7 by then. We certainly should, because Apple said later this month, and tomorrow is the last day it can possibly be to be later this month. Samsung X5, Samsung X9 is the latest, but it doesn't work that well with the iPhone. If you're just using it for your Mac, it works fine. It doesn't work that well with the iPhone. Now I have these. These are my favorite right now. My favorite. Oh, you can't see it. I have the Crucial X9 Pro. They're my favorite little tiny SSDs that work very well with the iPhone. They work very well. Why do you think 10.7 is more special than 10.6 or any of the other dot updates? I mean, the 10.5 and 10.6 eras weren't very great. Well, that's exactly why they're better than 10.5 and 10.6. Here's what happened. Here's what I've come to the realization. Prior to 10.5, so 10.1, 10.2, 10.3, 10.4, 10.5, 10.4, when they did a point update, point 1, point 2, point 3, and point 4, they had a laundry list of features. I mean, it was a lot of features saved up for that major point update. Well, when 10.5 came out, there was nothing. It was just Apple Silicon Native. 10.6 was a little bit better. What I've seen, and subsequently what's happened, is they stopped doing those major updates for a full point update. What they've done is they spread the updates out evenly across the life cycle of Final Cut Pro. They spread it out across the life cycle. Thank you very much. We got 35 thumbs up. Fantastic. So instead of having a giant update when they release the full number point update, they're now spreading it out evenly with groups of updates during the life cycle. So 10.7 has just got here. Well, it'll be here in 24 hours. 10.7 has just got here. That's the beginning of the 10.7 era of Final Cut Pro. That's the future of Final Cut Pro. 10.7 is the future. We just got here with 4 or 5 features. The scrolling timeline, for me, I've been waiting for a long time. So I'm very happy about that. A lot of people are. A lot of people are. But if it's not the main thing you wanted, I completely understand. Am I going to sit here and just rest and say, oh, they've done all I can do now? No, they have not. They have a lot more work to do, and I want them to keep on doing it. Look at all these thumbs up, 38 thumbs up. Fantastic. Fantastic. I want to say this while I have the audience. I appreciate each and every one of you in the audience. This Final Cut TV live stream that I'm doing, I'm going to come back tomorrow. We have the best audience, best live Final Cut Pro audience of anybody. We have the best. So that's all you. Please give yourself a round of applause. Curious what drive the Thunderbolt 3 is. It is I forget what it is. I had to look it up, but the NVMe is different than the case. So true Thunderbolt cases for SSDs are 3 or 4 times as expensive as the USBs, because I guess it's more if it's more going into it. It'll go subscription if they go all in on a Final Cut Pro Studio bundle, or if they make it like DR, all-in-one edit, core, power, audio powerhouse. They have purchased the assets to it. I think they're going to keep on giving us the ability to buy it outright, even if they do a subscription option. Apple has turned into a mobile-first company. The iPhone obviously is their main moneymaker. It's turned them into a just gigantic monolith. They're the best. What do they call it? The market capital, the biggest in the world. So absolutely. But that doesn't mean Final Cut Pro's never been a main tier, money-making tier for them. Now, we probably have 4 to 5 million Final Cut Pro seats at this point. So that's $300 a pop. That's 1.5 billion with a B. That's a lot of money. They can do some stuff with that. And now the iPad version at $4.99 a month or whatever is going to add to that. And like I said, I don't mind if they have a major update. But first off, let us know in advance. Don't spring on us, oh, we're going to charge for this next update a day before you release something. Let us know a year in advance. We have an update for Final Cut Pro coming in about a year, and it's going to be a paid update. Now, hopefully they give us longtime users a discount somehow. I don't know how they do that. 41 thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you very much. 41 thumbs up. Thank you very much. Let's go over there and check the App Store just to make sure they didn't sneak an update out on us. No, they did not. I'm expecting it tomorrow. Now, when Apple says later this month, they really mean later this month. I'm going to tell you something that I looked into today before we came on, and why I changed my idea of doing a Wednesday Final Cut Pro 10.7 update to 24 hours from now. That is funny. When they say later this month, they really mean later this month. They had the last day. Final Cut Max and Final Cut Ultra. I just wanted to see it written out. There you go. Thank you for this every time I'm able to make one. I always appreciate your time and leave me with more value than I can. But what a nice saying. What a nice thing to say, Sean. I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much. I like the size of the Crucial SSD. I want to pick some of them up. You can never have too many. So right now, Tio, the 4 terabyte is $182 in the US. It was for I guess it still is. $182 for a 4 terabyte little Crucial SSD. I love those things. They're like it's like you can flip a coin and it's just a little bit bigger than that. So 63 people watching, 44 thumbs up. I think that's fantastic. Very much so. It really, really is. We got a lot of watchers today. So once again, you're watching today, 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, Thursday. We should have Final Cut Pro 10.7 out tomorrow. By this time tomorrow, we'll come back on. It should be out 12, 1 o'clock Eastern. It certainly should. Now, if it'll be out tomorrow. There's been no rumors or anything that there's any problems with it, so I'm sure it's going to be out tomorrow. Yeah, let's not do the Final Cut Pro 10 launch ever again, please. Absolutely. Do we have any idea of how the Final Cut Pro dev team is? The pace of development seems glacial next to Adobe and Blackmagic. I've used that term many times, the glacial pace of Final Cut Pro development, so I understand that. Well, first off, they have heads. We met with the heads of the different departments, so there's different people on the team. It's called the Pro Apps team. There was 5 or 6 at the Q&A when we got to ask everybody questions. They have one guy that's in charge of the iPad version, one guy's in, Bill Davis is kind of the head of the Final Cut Pro, and there's a bunch of other things. I don't know how many people. Dozens, hundreds? I think that in the future, creating videos is going to be a common skill set for anyone to have, and Apple is targeting those future users with pro features, but will close that gap. So yeah, the beginners, the iPad version is fantastic. Thank you very much. We got 46 thumbs up. The iPad version is fantastic for beginners. It really is. It's not as full featured as the Final Cut on the Mac. There's 40 some features that it's missing by my count, but it's a good entry point. $5 a month. That's 1 coffee a month. And you can edit on your iPad. Some people prefer the touch base. I like the power of my MacBook Pro and the fast hard drives and stuffs. First time running into the channel, new subscriber. Thank you, Tio. Thank you for tuning in. Fantastic. I'd also like to know how much of the dev engineering teams from the Mac Final Cut Pro were pulled or put on the Final Cut Pro version. Maybe that's why 10.5, 10.6 were slow. There's a lot of reasons, excuses why I heard 10.5 and 10.6 were slow. This is what I've heard. I've heard, oh, Metal 2, they have to make it compatible with Metal 2. Then it was Apple Silicon, and then it was this and is that. And I kept saying, what about Resolve? Resolve had exactly the same things they had to do. They had to work with Metal 2. They had to work with Apple Silicon. It didn't slow them down at all. So something else might have been going on. Of course, we're never going to know. We're never going to know exactly what's going on. But 10.5 to 10.6, here's what happened. 10.4 to 10.5 was 3 years. 10.4, when 10.4 came out, 10.0 to 10.5.0, 3 years. When we got 10.5, it was just the only feature was Apple Silicon native, basically. Now, it only took 1 year to go from 10.5 to 10.6. So if you average it out, 10.4 to 10.5 to 10.6, it was 2 years for each update, which is what happened with 10.6 to 10.7. 2 years. That's more reasonable, 2 years between full number updates. Ben Bowser says, hello, Richard. Well, so much for the Tuesday tradition. Ben, watch this. We're going to talk about why I changed my mind. I did some investigating. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. I did some investigating. Now watch this. Stay tuned. Stay tuned, Ben. Watch this. Let's take this off. So everybody thinks that, including myself, that Tuesdays are the big days for Final Cut Pro updates. Absolutely incorrect. Thursdays are the big days for Final Cut Pro updates. I saw a post on Twitter yesterday that says Final Cut Pro is always updated on a Tuesday. It is not always updated on a Tuesday. I went back and did statistics. 16 updates have come to us on Thursdays. 8. This is since 10.3. So it's the last 7 years, 6 or 7 years. 16 Final Cut Pro updates have come to us on a Thursday. Double what's come to us on Tuesdays. Tuesdays had 8 updates. Mondays had 7. And I think there was one other day, maybe a Saturday or something, that they snuck an update out before NAB. So the idea that Tuesdays, including myself, I thought the same thing. I always made jokes on Twitter, is today Tuesday, is today Tuesday. Thursday has twice as many Final Cut Pro updates as Tuesday. 16 to 8. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow is Thursday. So they're going to update Final Cut Pro to 10.7 tomorrow, and this will change from 16 to 17. They will update Final Cut Pro tomorrow. The only day they haven't updated Final Cut Pro is on Wednesdays, which is today. So this is an interesting thing. I thought Tuesdays were the day. No, they're not. Thursdays are the day for Final Cut Pro updates. Thursdays. See the kind of things you learn when you come to the live stream? Now you have the information that Tuesday's not the day for Final Cut Pro. Second place, Thursdays beat it by 2 times the amount. Steve Jobs stated that video creation would be the literacy of the future back when he was actually alive, correct? I'm glad he did it when he was actually alive, Ben. I'm glad you weren't seeing him after he's passed. Software engineers get pulled off other projects to get iPhone, Apple Watch stuff done inside info. All I can say, I think that's probably accurate. It's like the version numbers don't really mean much any longer. It's like what they've done is they've spread out the feature updates across the life cycle of a version number. They don't have a whole bunch to shotgun at the very beginning when we first get a full number update. They even it out. And I've noticed now that 10.7 came out with 4 or 5 updates. That's exactly what's happened. Whoever started the Tuesday release date myth needs to be dealt with. So here's the thing. Your memory is unreliable. Memory is completely unreliable. So for some reason we thought Tuesdays. I did as well. I saw a post yesterday that said, Final Cut Pro is always updated on a Tuesday. No, it's not. Thursdays beat it by 100% more. Just an FYI, tomorrow is also the last day of hurricane season down here. Just a coincidence? Betas drop for iOS and macOS only happen on Tuesdays unless it's an emergency fix. Okay, betas drop for iOS and macOS Tuesdays. Well, Final Cut Pro is also updated sometimes on Tuesday. And they have never happened on the same day as Final Cut Pro ever. You have to provide me with information. Do a spreadsheet, show me when betas are released, and I'll give you the information on Final Cut Pro. I'm not just going to accept one person's word that that's the truth. I don't do that. And I need proof. Not that it's that big a deal. Thursdays are more important. Samsung X5 is a Thunderbolt. You were thinking about the T9. Gotcha. Okay, X5 is Thunderbolt. Gotcha. I wonder if legacy Final Cut Pro releases were mostly on Tuesdays. Remember, we had to buy Final Cut Pro in those days. We had to buy the DVD set. So even if it was available, it wasn't released, we couldn't download it. We had to buy the DVD and get it shipped to us. So they may have announced, although some of the features were updated. Were they updated? Yeah, some of the features were updated because I remember when 10.4.5 came out, but the major ones, 10.4 to 10.5 to 10.6, you had to buy the DVD box set. Yes, I do not miss the days of disc installs. I don't either. Well, I was a trainer, so I got NFR versions of those discs. We got a free copy. That's one of the benefits we had. We also got, as trainers previously, we also got a discount on Apple hardware once or twice a year. Like if we bought a MacBook Pro, we'd get a 25% discount. It was fantastic. They treated trainers much better with Legacy Final Cut Pro than they do with 10. A gazillion DVDs plus a major library of technical engineering manuals to use it all. I remember well. When 10.0 came out, I said, what is this help manual? It was like this thick. We were used to 2,200 pages with Final Cut Pro 7, 6 and 7. 2,200 pages. It's like the Resolve manual is right now. Fantastic. I think my 10.6.9 is still working perfectly. Yeah, I already updated to 10.6.10 because of Apple Log. They included the Apple Log LUT in 10.6.10, so that's why I updated. They eventually stopped giving us trainers anything, took away free books, then took away free copies, then took away the hardware discount, then the training program died. Yeah, I understand. That was not fun. And they had that horrible company they put in there for a while that I refused to sign their agreement. They had a ridiculous agreement that I refused to sign. Forget what they were called. I do miss that Final Cut Pro Studio box, though. I have all those boxes. At least you couldn't accidentally update anything back then. Yes, that's correct. The DVDs were a big deal. I have NFR. Look, we have 49 thumbs up. We're going to be 50 here. And who's going to be 50 with the thumbs up? We got 49 right now. 49 going once, 49 going twice. Where's going to be the 50th thumbs up? I'll let you know when it happens. Fantastic. So we'll be back. I'm not leaving yet, but tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Tomorrow at 2 o'clock, we will be back. 50. We got the 50. We got 50. Fantastic. We got 50 thumbs up and 1 heart. Excellent. Excellent. It's, when I do these things, I do some prep work and I do an investigation. Like I went to find out this information about the graphics. Everybody, including myself, 54 thumbs up. Look at that. Including myself, I said, well, Tuesdays are the day, right? I was disappointed it didn't come out Tuesday. When I went to check, no, Thursdays. Twice as many times Final Cut Pro has been updated since 10.3, about the last 6-7 years. Twice as many Thursdays as Tuesdays. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Thursday. So that's why I'm saying we're going to get the update tomorrow. Probably get it in the morning. I would say the morning. I'd say 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 West Coast time. 56 thumbs up. Fantastic. This took me a few hours to figure all this out. Some of the dates were conflicting. It was really weird. When I was some of the dates, the updates were conflicting days. What the heck's that? I'm just going to turn that off. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow for sure, and that'll be probably big. The last 2 days have been a lot of viewers, hundreds, and we got 1,000 views between Facebook and YouTube for the live stream, and of course it builds after that as well. So that's fantastic. Don't answer. It's me. That's good to know. So Doberman guy, what are you? You have Doberman dogs, I presume, right? That's what I'm going to presume. I work with a lot of animal rescues local. I know Ben does too down in Louisiana. Let's see what we got here. I bought a Samsung X5 Thunderbolt drive when I could get it at only a price that made it only 10% more expensive than a similar price USB-C drive for the same LaCie rugged Thunderbolt drive. There you go. Bruce Babcock says, any other notable items you got to see handled while at the National Archives? I was up on the 5th floor. My editing suite was up on the 5th floor, and I was amongst all the top secret people. They had all the skiffs up there, if you know what they are. They're like rooms you go in, you can't take your phone and stuff, and it's protected. You can't, whatever. I was up with all the top secret people. I knew a lot of them. Of course, they wouldn't reveal anything. One of the things that they had was when they shredded something, it was the tiniest, like a thread. The paper was really, really tiny. It wasn't like the shredder that I have. It's, it's coarse. It's like strips. You could assemble, reassemble. Their shredding was like tiny little threads of paper. But anyway, I was up there. My editing suite was up there. You had to go through 2 stainless steel doors to get into my suite. One on the outside in a hallway. Then there's a little foyer area. And then my room was there. Sometimes I'd leave the rooms open. Other times I'd keep them closed. Anything else I saw at the National Archives? Magna Carta, one of the original Magna Carta documents. How about the Declaration of Independence? It's in the building. How about the Bill of Rights? It was in the building. The Constitution was in the building. All those were in the building that I worked in. I got to see them. I saw them many times throughout the years. So how about those? Those are pretty cool. The Magna Carta was really cool. But I was the main live audio guy. So everybody's afraid to do audio when I was there. Everybody's afraid to do audio. So I stepped up and did all the high profile audio. I did live mixing and stuff, but I know a lot about audio. So I got to meet Steven Spielberg because I'm the person that mics up the guests in the green room. So I'm back there miking up Steven Spielberg, miking up Ken Burns, who interviewed him that day. And at the end of the event, I go to the green room and I take the mic off of Steven Spielberg, take the mic off of Ken Burns. Politicians, I met a lot of politicians in those days. Book authors, I remember presidential people. I did live sound for President Obama, and I introduced Michelle Obama over the Voice of God. So all kinds of neat stuff. But I tell you, the Kennedy assassination memorabilia was when I was a kid and Kennedy was assassinated. It was a big, traumatic experience for the nation, for the world. Never in a million years would I have thought that I would someday be in the same room as any of that memorabilia. That was absolutely shocking. What happened was, it was the 50th anniversary of the JFK assassination. Let me pull this up. And it was the 50th anniversary of the Kennedy assassination. And let me pull some of these things up since we're talking about that. And the news media wanted to come in and film the Kennedy assassination artifacts. The archivist said, no, we're not having the outside media coming in. But we will film it, meaning me, I'm the post supervisor in my crew. We will film it and give you copies of the filming. So that's what we did. So let me just show you some of this since I'm talking about it. Go over here to graphics. Once again, Thursdays are the main days for Final Cut Pro updates, not Tuesdays, as we thought all along. So here is Oswald's rifle. This is an actual photograph that I took in the National Archives. That's the actual rifle. It's chilling. I mean, that day was absolutely chilling when I got to see some of this stuff. So that's the rifle that killed Kennedy. It's in the National Archives in College Park, Maryland. Here is the actual Zapruder film. This is the actual 8mm Zapruder film. It's kept in cold storage at the National Archives. This thing on the left is a little note that you can see there. This is the actual Zapruder film. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. So that's the actual Zapruder film. Let me turn that off. And here's the thing. When I was a kid, I used to deliver newspapers after school. Let me pull this down. This is the actual newspaper. I kept it. In those days, it was called the Washington Daily News. It came out after school. This is the actual one that I delivered. I kept a copy or a couple copies for myself. So that's my history. I never thought I'd be talking about that or whatever. Okay, I have to go to tech support call, not with Apple. I had scheduled you, Rock Richard. We'll see you tomorrow. Everybody, absolutely everybody breathe. Things come when they come. Absolutely. Thank you, Ben. Thanks for tuning in as usual. Each summer, I have a U.S. network that requires me to edit some 22-minute episodes for ETV. You know what? They still require me to edit on Final Cut Pro 7. Anyone else have the same issues? Yes, some people do. But if it works, they work. Very cool. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, but a mess. I need to have an old... Yeah. I have an original MacBook Pro, the first issue. I have an original MacBook Pro that has both Final Cut Pro 7.0.3 and Final Cut Pro 10.0 on it. Thing's about an inch thick. Not really, but I always say it's an inch thick. It runs both of them. So end of November, but 2047. Final Cut Pro 10.7 is like Mrs. Columbo. They didn't say the end of November. They said later this month. They didn't say November. Apple said later this month. Tomorrow is the last day that can be accurate. So I expect it tomorrow morning. It'll be out 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock Pacific time. So we'll see it here 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock Eastern time. We'll come back at 2 o'clock. Hopefully I get an hour or so to run through it, try the scrolling timeline, some other things. I've already back up your version of Final Cut Pro. Okay? That's the main thing I'm telling you before you update Final Cut Pro 10.7. Any important libraries you have, back those libraries up before you update. But I think it should be out within 24 hours. We changed from Final Cut Pro 5 to 6 and 7 with only a few years between each. Optics is everything, and 10's launch tainted the brand. Maybe it's time for Final Cut Pro 11 to be introduced to regain Final Cut Pro's former glory. Steve, I don't disagree with that. But I think you're going to see. Listen, I'm rejuvenated. I guess it's just rejuvenated. Talking to the Final Cut Pro team at the Creative Summit, they are so enthusiastic about Final Cut Pro. They are not holding things back. They're just doing things on their schedule. They're not like, being lazy. And I still want them to do more. I mean, I do. But faster schedule, more features, et cetera, et cetera. But once again, 10.7, when it comes out tomorrow, is still the beginning of the 10.7 era of Final Cut Pro. So here is, let me just put this up. This is my YouTube channel, as most of you know. I think most of you are watching on YouTube. A lot of people are. youtube.com/Richard Taylor TV. And I've started a Facebook group specifically for Final Cut Pro 10.7. So just go to facebook.com/group/Final Cut Pro 10.7, and you can join that group. That is specifically going to be for 10.7 going forward. There's dozens of Final Cut Pro groups all over Facebook, and I belong to probably a dozen myself, that deal with all versions of Final Cut Pro. All versions of Final Cut Pro. But this group, we're going to stick to 95, maybe 90%, 95%, just Final Cut Pro 10.7 going forward. Thank you very much. We got 61 thumbs up. 61 thumbs up. I don't know if that's a record, but it's darn close to it if it's not a record. Fantastic. Fantastic. Yep, I've been the same. I've been refreshing the App Store all day. I don't know why this one feels a little special. It was special, Steve, for us who went to the Creative Summit and got to talk to the team in person. It was special. This Creative Summit was one of the best Creative Summit. This is the fifth one. Let me see, 16, 17, 18, 19. Fifth one. This was the fifth one that I've been to, and it was special. Everybody that was there, everybody was there. We're really excited about Final Cut Pro. We were all elated. The team was energetic, energized. So it was very, very good. Tomorrow, 2 o'clock Eastern. Tomorrow, 2 o'clock Eastern, we will be back. Now, I expect Final Cut Pro 10.7 will be out before we get on the air. I expect it to be out before 2 o'clock Eastern, but that'll give us time to install it, to try it out, to see how the scrolling timeline's working. Let me see if I can pull this over here for everybody to see. Let's go back over here to the graphics page real quick. Take that off. Take that off. Here is tomorrow's. Here is tomorrow's graphic for YouTube. This is already up on my Facebook page, but as it says there, Final Cut Pro updates. Final Cut Pro updates by day. Put myself down there underneath my chin. Final Cut Pro updates by days. Thursdays, we've had 16 updates. Tuesdays, we've had 8 updates. And Mondays, we've had 7. So Tuesdays and Mondays are almost neck and neck. But Thursdays, by far, which is tomorrow, by far, is the biggest day that Final Cut Pro is updated. By far. Thursdays tomorrow, 10.7 should be out anytime after midnight. It could come out today. I'm not saying it's not going to come out, but so far it's not out. But anyway, I spent a few hours this morning going over that. Let's just double check, make sure it's not been coming out yet. Nope, not out. So tomorrow, Thursday, which is the most common day for Final Cut Pro updates. Did you know that before you tuned into the live stream? No, you did not know that. I didn't know it. How could you possibly know that? I did the research this morning, and I was really shocked. I was really shocked that Thursdays are by far the most popular day for Final Cut Pro updates. By far. Not even close. Tuesdays are second, and Mondays are right behind them. So, and as a matter of fact, 10.3, 10.4, let me just pull that up real quick. 10.3, let me see this. Okay. Here we go. 10.3 was a Thursday when it was released. 10.4 was a Thursday. 10.5 was a Thursday. 10.6 was actually a Monday. I don't know why, but it was a Monday. So every major full point number update since 10.3 has been a Thursday. None of them have been released on a Tuesday. Okay? None have been released on a Tuesday. Tomorrow is Thursday. That's the most popular day for the Final Cut Pro to release updates. 10.7. I'll see you back here in 24 hours. You can keep on commenting on this. You can keep on commenting on this feed even after we go off live. And also the one for tomorrow is already up on my feed. You can also comment, but this one will be active. You can keep commenting here. You can go to our Facebook groups, facebook.com/groups/Final Cut Radio TV is what our Facebook group is. See you tomorrow with Final Cut Pro 10.7. Thanks each and every one of you for tuning in. We got 61 thumbs up. Fantastic, fantastic crowd. You're the best. You are the best. I will see everybody tomorrow.